Hey everybody, Jim here with another video for you. This is Shocktober 2025, episode 8. But before we begin, at the end of this episode, if you like what you see, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, please leave comments below. I really appreciate all the feedback that I get from you guys, whether it's positive, negative, or neutral. It's all good, so thank you very much. Now, today, as I film this, it is Wednesday, October 8th. As I said, this is episode 8, and because it's Wednesday, I figured, hey, why not? Let's just keep the goofiness continuing. We're going to go with Werewolf Wednesday. So, we're going to have a couple of werewolf movies, and again, I'm not really going to stick to any rules. Sometimes I recommend one movie, sometimes I recommend 3 movies, sometimes I recommend a shitload of movies. So, we're going to keep that motif going. But these first two are not recommendations, but let's face it, when you're talking about quote-unquote modern horror movies, or modern werewolf movies, I should say, you have to bring up these two immediately. And by modern, I use that term loosely, as both of these films are coming up on over 40 years old. They're both actually 40, coming up on 45 years old next year. And I'm talking about, of course, arguably the greatest werewolf movie of all time, An American Werewolf in London, and Joe Dante's The Howling. They were both released the same year in 1981, as was a movie called Wolfen, which I know my good friend Roy over at Blue Roy Movies just loves. And actually, I really do love that movie. I unironically, but that movie's not a werewolf movie. It just got lumped in with these two because they all came out the same year. This movie actually won the first special effects, practical, visual effects, makeup effects, I should say, Oscar. It was invented for this film for Rick Baker, and then it became an Oscar after that. But this film created that category for the Academy Awards. And this movie by far is the superior of the two, but I love them both and always will. And before we get rid of them completely, I just want to highlight the artwork of the Scream Factory Steelbook. I mean, it's beautiful. It really is. Like all of these Scream Factory Steelbooks, here's some special features. And of course, they have re-released this on 4K since then. You can't tame what's meant to be wild, Doc. Yep. It's a great movie. I love it. I know my friend Ollie over at Ollie Loves Movies, or Ollie Loves Films rather, isn't a big fan of this movie. But again, I think he appreciates it more than he enjoys it. But yeah, I absolutely love this movie. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get to the actual recommendations. And what I did with these next ones is I kind of ranked them by the crazy factor, okay? Because the first two, The Howling and American Werewolf in London, both have like a comic factor to them. They're both kind of crazy. And so are the rest of these films. So let's get going. And the least to the most, as far as the crazy factor goes, this ought to give you a clue how crazy the rest of these movies go, because when the least crazy one features crazy Gary Busey, things are going to go off the hook. But I'm talking about 1985's Silver Bullet, based on the book Cycle of the Werewolf by Stephen King. This movie, in addition to crazy Gary Busey, also stars Everett McGill, Corey Haim, and others. And yeah, I love this movie. But again, it's not scary. It's a comedy. It's a dark comedy. It really is. But it's a lot of fun, okay? And just about everybody's seen this movie now. But if you haven't, by all means, check out Silver Bullet. Again, not scary, a lot of fun. Crazy Gary Busey's awesome. Corey Haim's is awesome. Everything is awesome about this movie. So check it out if you haven't seen it. Then ratcheting up the crazy factor, how about Full Eclipse, starring Mario Van Peebles, Patsy Kensit, and Bruce Payne, among others. And this one is directed by Anthony Hickox, who directed a couple of the Hellraiser movies. And this movie is about werewolf cops. It was originally an HBO film. It might have even been one of the first HBO films. That's when I saw it originally. And this movie's not good, but it's a lot of fun. And again, it's crazy. These cops inject these drugs, and it basically, at night, it turns them into like these super cops, which are basically, enhanced werewolves. And when the eclipse comes at the end of the movie, it turns out, spoiler alert for a movie that nobody's ever heard of and a lot of people will probably never see, Bruce Payne, who is their squad leader, turns out to be a real werewolf who's juicing these guys up so they can become victims so he can become a super werewolf. Again, it's just a bunch of nonsense, but it's a lot of fun. So, Full Eclipse, if you haven't checked it out yet or if you've never heard of it, try to track it down. It's worth a watch. Then we're going up even more crazy, and this one is awesome. Dog Soldiers, directed by Neil Marshall, starring Kevin McKidd and Sean Pertwee and Liam Cunningham, among others. And this is my favorite Neil Marshall movie. It really is. I love The Descent, but this movie is just balls out crazy fun. It really is. It's werewolves versus soldiers. You can't get better than that. And again, you want to talk about crazy? This movie gets very crazy with some of the shit that goes on. Sean Pertwee has one of the funniest lines ever, but out of context, it won't make any sense. But all he says is sausages. And again, when you see the scene that he says it in, it's brilliant. And again, this movie's brilliant. It's a low budget movie, but my God, it's just so great. So out of all the films I'm recommending, okay, this one, like I said, it's probably my favorite out of all of them. It's just so much fun. So recommendation next is Dog Soldiers. But this one is the craziest out of all of them. This movie is just batshit insane. And technically this is not a werewolf movie, but I had to include it. And I'm talking about Brotherhood of the Wolf. Starring Vincent Cassel, Samuel Bian, Monica Bellucci, and Mark Dacascos, among others. Written and directed by Christoph Gans. And when I say batshit crazy, I mean it. This movie is insane. It's part action, part comedy, part erotic thriller, part period piece, part horror movie, part everything jammed into a blender and hit puree. And right here, Mark Dacascos is a rock star in this movie. Both of these guys are great, don't get me wrong, but he's a rock star. And this movie is insanely entertaining. Again, not necessarily, it's definitely not a werewolf movie, although they allude to it pretty much for half the movie. But again, I can't even explain what this movie is. It's something that you have to watch yourself. And again, for a 2.5-hour French movie that you watch with English subtitles, it flies by and you don't even realize that you're watching a French film. It's just, this movie's great. I cannot recommend it enough. And that is the last of my recommendations for Werewolf Wednesday from episode 8 of Shocktober 2025. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please, once again, give me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, please leave comments below. Let me know how you feel about my picks. Let me know how you feel about this series. Before I leave, I want to remind everyone that Saturday, October 11th, at 1 p.m. Central Time, right here on Jim's Movie Channel, will be the next live edition of Shooting the Shit with Jim. My very special guest will be Andy from Forgotten World of Movies. He's coming from the UK. He's coming out of semi-retirement because he has been taking a break from YouTube, and he was kind enough to agree to fill in for Anthony, who had to drop out. So please join me and Andy on Saturday right here. I'm going to leave his link in the description below. We're going to have a great time on Saturday. And again, I cannot stress enough how much I hope that you will join us then. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.